Today I'm going to share the 4-step blueprint that you need in order to quit your 9-to-5 and start your own business. What's up guys, my name is Sal and in March of 2023, I escaped the rat race. I quit my miserable consulting job to pursue entrepreneurship and started my first business. A quick thing from me, if you enjoy these types of videos, please make sure to leave a comment, like, and subscribe to get more videos like these in your feed. Without further ado, let's get straight into step 1. So the first step that you need to take in order to quit your 9-to-5 to pursue entrepreneurship essentially is to find the business model that is best suited to you. Now, if you're watching this video, chances are you're probably looking at online business models, right? You're looking to find a business model to get started. You're probably checking out all the businesses that are available online. So the 4 business models that we would want to look at when looking at what business model is best for us to begin would be e-commerce, sales, service-based businesses, so for example SMMA, starting an agency, that type of thing, and launching info products / content creation, right? These are the 4 options that we want to look at when identifying which business model to begin. Now, the thing that is important to understand is you don't want to just dive into any business model for the sake of it, or because you've been sold it online, or because someone's convinced you that, that's the best business model to start in 2024. Because in reality, the truth is every single business model works, right? And the thing that we want to bear in mind, which we'll come to later on in step 3, is we want to make sure that whatever business model we choose, we're going to commit to this for the next 6 months of our lives, right? We do not want to get shiny object syndrome and pivot from business to business to business. At the end of the day, success doesn't come overnight, right? So we need to make sure that the business model that we're choosing aligns with our skill set, our purpose, what fulfills us, and essentially what we're going to be best equipped to ensure longevity to grow and succeed in that specific business, right? So in order to do that, we need to identify our personal skills. What are we good at? What do we hate? What do we want to learn more about? What exactly fits our skill set so that we make the commitment to choose that business? This is something that people brush over and rush into. And I'm telling you right now that you don't want to rush into just choosing any old business, because when you are faced with adversity, which you will face down the line, you want to be best prepared. And at the end of the day, the best way to be prepared with the obstacles is knowing what your bigger picture goal is and making sure that your personal and professional goals align to ensure that you are working to the best of your ability. And so what my advice to you would be is, first of all, do a deep level of self-reflection. Understand, like I mentioned, what your skills are and write them down, right? Then we're going to do some market research. We're going to do a little bit of research into each of the 4 fields that I mentioned to see which one would be best equipped for us, right? Once we have done that, the thing that I would advise you to do that I wish I had done at the start and I implemented a little bit later on was write down a list of pros and cons for each business. Write down the things we like, write down the things that we don't like. Make sure that the pros and cons list we make is not just some ChatGPT generated pros and cons list, but something that is contextually tailored to who you are as an individual. For example, if we're going to look at remote sales, right? I enjoy remote sales because I like speaking to people, I like selling products, I enjoy that side of things. So I would write down a pro. I enjoy the development of learning sales. But then on the flip side, what I would look at as working in a sales job, especially a remote sales job like appointment setting or closing, for example, in the cons, I would put, well, fundamentally, I want to be my own boss. So I don't really want to go and sell somebody else's product because I want to make sure that I'm building my own product. And that's a con that I would write down, right? So just like that, you need to write down pros and cons for each one of these 4 things in order to basically eliminate it to find which business is best suited for you as your first ever business to start. Once you've done that, then you're going to eliminate the 2 that you hate the most. Look at the top 2 and understand which one you align with the most. By this point, you're probably going to already know which business is for you to go down. But if not, we're going to then really go in depth into the top 2 businesses and break down which one we think we're most equipped to succeed in based on our current skills, previous skills. So for example, when I first started, I went down e-commerce. And the reason I went down that was because in the past, I had experience in running an Amazon business, an Etsy business for other companies that I worked at. So I knew I already had the experience of managing back-end operations in an e-commerce store, thus going down that when I first began. But at the same time, if you apply that to yourself, you will start to understand exactly which business model is best for you. Like I said, we are not choosing 2 models, we are not choosing 3 models, we are not flip-flopping between them. We are going to pick one sector to enter, and then we're going to narrow down the niche. So for example, if you decide, okay, e-commerce is going to be the sector that I enter into, we're not going to keep it broad. We're then going to be like, okay, am I going to go into Amazon? Am I going to go into Shopify? Am I going to focus on TikTok ads? Am I going to focus on Meta ads? We want to narrow it down so that we really hone our skills on this one specific set of skills that is required for that one model in order to truly become a specialist in that field. And essentially that caps off step 1, which is finding the right business model for you. So once we've picked the right business model for us and we've identified the business model that we're going to commit to for the next 6 months of our lives, the next step is finding and leveraging coaches and content out there in order to grow your education in that specific business and basically allow you to learn from other people who are way ahead of you in the ladder to ensure that you can learn from their mistakes, you can take tips that they share, and basically just leverage this content to the best of your ability. However, it is important to note that we are not going to just look at all the content out there and maximize everything that's available to us on the internet, because what we're risking doing is putting ourselves in this position where we start consuming content for the sake of consuming content. And that is not an efficient use of our time. At the end of the day, as we will come to in step 3, the most important thing is taking action. However, in order to actually get started and take some action, there is nothing wrong in educating yourself a little bit and learning how the business works, learning from people who are more successful, and leveraging the information that is available to you on this powerful tool that we call the internet in order to get a head start on the business that you want to do. And so you may be sitting here and thinking, okay, Sal, I want to, find mentors and some content online in order to leverage, but how do I go about finding that? It's very simple. There are 5 main areas that you can basically find content, right? The first one is YouTube. We can find content on YouTube. We can go and find influencers who we resonate with and watch their content, watch their information, and see what we can absorb from it. The second thing is to join that person's Telegram channel. Most people will have some free form of content somewhere because at the end of the day, they want to upsell you onto a course. And so everybody knows that the first way to do that is to first provide a bunch of free content and value. And so join the Telegram channels, join a Discord channel, go and watch their live free webinars. They may do free live streams, they may do free webinars, have these free sessions, which you should go and take full advantage of. Also sign up to their email list. They will drop emails with snippets of information that you can also absorb and take into it. And the 5th one is networking events. A lot of people will have networking events. For example, a couple of weeks ago, Luke Belmar organized a completely free networking event in Dubai, and I went to it because it allowed me to meet a bunch of entrepreneurs and learn about a range of skills in different areas. So take advantage of free networking events in your sector because that is how you're going to learn a lot of valuable information and potentially make connections along the way, which just allows you to progress on your journey at a much faster pace. Something that I really want to emphasize here, like I mentioned earlier, is we don't want to absorb the content of every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there. I want you to choose a maximum of 3 people in your niche, no more than 3 people. The risk that you fall to by choosing more than 3 people whose content you want to consume is people are going to have different journeys in terms of how they got there. You're going to have a very different journey to me. You're going to have a very different journey to other people in terms of how they've grown and built their businesses. And so it is very important to understand that it's better to focus on quality content from few, like I said, 3 individuals rather than going out there and trying to consume as much content as possible because people are going to give you different advice and you don't want things to contradict each other. The way that I advise it is watch a little bit of content, see, do I resonate with this person? Does this person, do I feel like I have an emotional connection with them? Do I feel like the information that they're giving me is genuinely applicable and improving my skill set in that specific field? So make sure you take a look at just 3 people and consume efficiently. That is the final and most important part of step 2. Make sure that you are efficiently consuming content. I do not want you to just spend hours and hours and hours of mentally masturbating by watching all this content out there because you're going to fry your dopamine receptors and you're going to get to a point where you're you're just consuming for the sake of consuming, which is going to stop you from doing step number 3, which is arguably the most important thing and most people do not do, which is get started. Implementing daily action and building momentum. Most people don't start. In order to actually start pursuing your business, you need to get started. At this point in time, you're still working your 9 to 5. So you have to now structure your day. You need to be more methodical. You need to be planned, and you need to dedicate whatever amount of time you have in your day spare to that business. So I don't advise you to actually go to work and spend your time, whatever time in the office you have working on your business. Because chances are, unless you're working a really weird job that no one really cares about what you're doing, you're going to get sacked if they catch you working on a side hustle. Because newsflash, most businesses, most employers who you work for don't want you to start your own business. They want you to be a slave for the rest of your life, right? So you need to go home every night after work on your side business for the few hours you have. If you're sitting there and thinking, oh, I don't have time, I get home at 8 p.m., tough. If you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to quit your 9 to 5, the honest, harsh truth that I'm going to tell you, my friend, is that you have to sacrifice. There is going to be time in your day where you can put in that effort. If you're thinking, oh, I don't have time, look at your day. Be really honest with yourself and break down your day today. There's definitely going to be times during your day where you have free. Maybe you spend an hour and a half watching Netflix. Maybe you spend 45 minutes playing PlayStation with your mates. Cut that out. Maybe you spend 45 minutes eating dinner. Eat dinner for 15 minutes and work on your side hustle. On the weekends, you're not going out with your friends. You are implementing daily action. You are putting in the work, because at the end of the day, if you do not start, if you are not putting in the work every day, how do you expect to build momentum to eventually quit your 9 to 5 and make this business your full-time thing? Once you've gotten started, the most important thing is consistency. Consistent action builds progress, builds momentum, and fosters growth over a long period of time as a result of the compound effect, which I mentioned in a previous video. If you haven't seen it, check it out somewhere in the link below. A productivity hack that I want to share with you that will help you in order to adopt this habit of daily action, consistency, and building that momentum is every single day before you go to bed, write down a to-do list of everything that you have to work on for your business the next day. So that the next day when you come home from work, you know exactly what you need to get done. By you yesterday telling you today what you need to do, and you today telling you tomorrow what they need to do, you are holding yourself accountable and allowing yourself to foster consistency over a long period of time, which I guarantee will build momentum. You may face obstacles, you may feel like you're struggling and not, getting any growth. But honestly, if you stay true to it, and like I said, at least 6 months put in the work into that business, if you don't see growth, drop me a message and I will help you out for free. I will mentor you one-to-one for free if you do not see growth within 6 months and follow the steps that I have told you to do. Trust me, trust in the process, and you will see growth over a long period of time. We are now at the final step, the step that we have all been waiting for since we started this journey of wanting to quit our 9 to 5. And this is a step that people leave out, they ignore, but I cannot emphasize just how important this specific step is. And this is the step crossing the threshold and knowing when to go all in. Essentially, in this step, we want to analyze and look at the signs that indicate the readiness for us to actually go into this business full time, quit our 9 to 5, and go full 120%, put all our time into this business now because we know we are ready. The questions that I want you to ask yourself are the following. Are you making money from this business? Are you putting in the work every single day, or are you cheating? Are you being honest with yourself about the progress that you have made from the day you started to where you are right here, right now? Are you noticing personal and professional growth within yourself? You need to self-reflect and be brutally honest with yourself. At the end of the day, if you quit, you are accountable. So you need to make sure that you are ready to make this step into pursuing this business as your full-time thing. Okay? You cannot sit there and say, I quit, and then next month, I'm not making any money and I'm broke and I'm not going to pay my rent. No, you need to be accountable. This is part of being an entrepreneur. You are in charge of your life. You are in charge of the decisions that you have made. And I want you to make sure that you are fully accountable when making this step. And that's why I have incorporated this step into this 4-step process, because understanding the financial thresholds, being prepared, knowing where you are at this stage is so important to evaluate when you're actually able to finally make that jump from 9 to 5 to entrepreneurship. Something that people really overlook is financial budgeting and forecasting. This is a mistake that I made at the start of my journey. When I quit my job, because I was making money, I was like, it's time to go all in, let's go for it. And then within a couple of months, I had a really bad month and I didn't make as much money as I needed to in order to pay the bills. So I had to humble myself and I had to go and work extra shifts at Tesco, go back to Co-op. For guys watching in America, it's like your version of Walmart. It's not nice, right? But you have to do these things. But in order to avoid them and make sure that you never have to go back to that 9 to 5 grind, if you have a financial plan in place, if you've budgeted what your expenses are, if you know what your income is, if you have funds for a rainy day, you've documented on spreadsheets exactly what your monthly expenses are, you've documented your profit and loss in your business and what your growth are. Now you actually have a structured plan in order to know when to make that leap of faith. At the end of the day, you also have to understand your own risk tolerance. What might be right for you may not be right for me. Maybe you want to have 9 months of safety before making the jump. Maybe you have kids to take care of. You have to consider all these external factors when making this decision of financial readiness to actually make that transition. I really, really urge you to pay emphasis to step 4 and make sure that you have planned it out in order to be fully prepared for any obstacles that will come your way as you go into this path of entrepreneurship. Once you have the plan ready, once you know what the numbers that you need to hit are, once you know how much you need sitting in the bank, once you've reduced the necessary overheads that you've had to do, congratulations. You now know exactly when to make that leap of faith. You have a plan that you can follow. You have a goal that you have set. And so now you are at a point where you are ready to make that transition from your 9 to 5 to entrepreneurship. If you found this 4-step blueprint useful, I have actually filmed this for my private community inside Untapped Potential completely for free and with an additional 5th step incorporated into the blueprint. If you want to check it out, I have left a link in the description to my free school community. So make sure to join in order to get access to a group of like-minded individuals all on the same path of being the best versions of themselves to attain financial freedom whilst achieving fulfillment in their life. Make sure you guys leave a comment below telling me exactly what business model you guys want to start, what sort of things you might be struggling with in order to actually get started, and how I could help you guys going forward. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.